Welcome to CathyDSlaught's SRC4u Zoom call for June 22nd, 2021. If you would like to access this demonstration on the SRC4u software, which is for entertainment purposes, you would come to her website, CathyDSlaght.com, scroll down and look for this Zoom banner. She has a client list that she puts in the software to show how the software works. If you would like to be part of this client list, you can click on this banner. It's a monthly fee to be part of the group. So we're going to go to the Zoom call now, where we're going to click here, Allow, which takes us to the Zoom banner, the platform, and the meeting will be in progress. We'll join with audio.
Moment in time is injury emergency, and I don't know what that's relating to. It could be anything, but you can see that we're still going. We're going to pull there's some self-deception. Sinus comes up a lot. Words to ponder. He who has no Christmas in his heart will never find Christmas under a tree. Adored, envious, stability, secure, and resistance factor, eyes, which could be the physical eyes or maybe something we don't want to see. So I went in, and this is kind of thought-provoking. I went in ahead of time because I wanted to see, and this is what you see with this technology. I checked, did we want a clearing? No. Did we want a thymus cocktail? No. Voltage? No. Back scan, actually, for the first time. We didn't care for that. And that's what I believe is happening with our work, is it's activating our self-healing, and we are proceeding as we go through these things with our own activity to take care of that. But I did see, let me see if it's still in here. I've been working on a DNA scan, and we want that. And some things to think about with that. First and foremost, this book right here, DNA and the I Ching, I don't recommend anybody buy that. I'll be glad to share this one. I bought this a few years back. It was way over my head, and I thought, well, maybe things have changed. They have not. It is way over my head. But the point out of the whole book is that scientists are discovering amazing similarities between the I Ching and the DNA. There are 64 factors, there are 4 major factors, but the one thing they agree on is it all flows with the Tao. In other words, the overall energy. And they are seeing these correlations. It's quite interesting, but when you go through a book and they're breaking down DNA codes, that I wasn't built to study that kind of thing. So I'll be glad to share this book. But I went in, just for this week, we've been doing some I Ching. I've done the I Ching for many years. And so I went in this morning. Let me see if I can find it here. And and here's a new code if anybody's interested in reference to DNA. Remove and transmute programmed manipulation of the genetic code. There was a code for that, so we have it. And so I went on, we're doing the I Ching for both the Energy Visionaries group and then also our daily group. But I went in, one of the things, if anybody had time to watch that long video that's posted on the Energy Visionaries group site, you see they talk about ivermectin. And that's one area of concern. Ivermectin is what's called a repurposed drug, which means there's not much money in it for Merck. So Merck came out and said, oh no, ivermectin is no good. It could even be harmful. According to the panel, they said no, that's because they want to fast track a new drug, which is huge money, that they called the ivermectin 100% effective, both in clearing coronavirus and also preventing it. So I went in and I said, there are those who say ivermectin is 100% effective in preventing and even curing COVID-19. What is the truth of this statement? And let me just backtrack a minute. If you want to get a book, maybe some of you have this one. Anybody in here familiar with this? Can you see it?
No.
Can't see it, Cathy.
No.
Can you see it now?
No.
Can't read it.
Okay, it's by John Randolph Price, and it says that it is nothing is too good to be true. And he talks about the fact, I should mention this, that at different times on the planet, we have had enlightened beings come down and share some things with us, one of which may be the I Ching, because we sure don't know where it came from. So when I did ask this question, I got Gua 43. Remember, there are 64 hexagrams. And this one is, pressure has been building for some time. Now, like water cracking and bursting through a dam, old restraints are being broken. The river overflows the dam. The truthful finally cast aside the untrue. Tension gives way to motion. Powerful action has been a long time coming. The influences of those who are beneath you suddenly mean very little. A cloudburst. And you might remember in yesterday's I Ching, it talked about we were going to be just fine, but we were going to have to work with our imagination. And so as all this comes along, maybe we're learning that power we have. Now, there was a moving line. The I Ching is the book of change, which means everything's changing constantly. So the moving line goes to not letting struggles stop you, that be resolved to clear all this. Don't give up on it, otherwise it can be a time of misfortune. The wise person walks away from an unhealthy mindset and doesn't let inner struggles stop them from taking their next steps in life. And that moves it to moving to Gua 1, and that is a very powerful creative force, a very positive and powerful. So that is that in reference to ivermectin. But then I said, was there a message for the daily energy group? And this indicates a journey of discovery. At least we didn't get the same one again. This is the time to be sincere and extremely honest with yourself. What are you really looking for? Where do you think it will be found? Let your heart be your guide. And there are two moving lines. Your needs are met easily, and shooting an arrow straight on, which takes it to Gua 44, which is coming together. So I thought that was pretty good. There is a site which I'll share with you, and you can look up for yourself. It's i.fate.com. I like to work with the stalks. I work with bamboo sticks to do the I Ching, the one method way. And it takes 15-20 minutes. You go into a little meditation, etc. But this ifate.com can do a pretty good I Ching. I'm very impressed with it. And you could go in and play with that a little if this fascinates you. Also, there's plenty of information on YouTube. You can learn all kinds of things. So I just wanted to.
Can you show the book one more time, too?
Yes.
Cool. Thanks.
Okay.
Nothing is too good to be true.
Nothing is Too Good to Be True by John Randolph Price. I've had it a while, but it's pretty. I think if you were going to invest in a book, this one might be worth the investment, as opposed to this DNA and the I Ching. And see again, we are really accepting this work, and I'm going to look. I want to show you in reference to DNA some of the information we came up, and it appears that DNA is programmable. And so this is a little bit of information that came up from the scan that I've been putting together. And thank you for coming back in. But so we've got, first of all, balance root chakra. This is an interesting thing. I just added in my list so I could share it. They say the tree of life actually represents frequency. So that's interesting studies. We are looking at polarity. Manifest as the creator you are. Not passive, but surrendering. There is a difference. Transformation. Courageously recognize that most of our lives we have been out of our bodies. We need the body. There's a lot more to it than just mind. The body is like a chemical factory. We need it in good shape. God code. Stop arguing for our limitations. This is an interesting thing. Invert DNA stagnancy. Shield DNA. We mentioned food. These are just notes. The strength of love. Let's just look at that one, for example. Let's see where we are with that. It looks pretty good. So anyway, I've gone higher than I need to go. Let's go all the way up to the 1,000. There is a higher consciousness doing the work. There's the DNA clearing. I'm a little hesitant to do that one, so I'm not going to do that. This is as far as I'm going to go. But we do know that there is, that the DNA is programmable. And if you do some Googling, you'll see some people who specialize in that. And let's just put this in here and see where we are. So we're taking the wonder click. I wonder what a QiGong Grandmaster would do today. So we can see we've got a little stress related to the girdle meridian. And while we're doing that, let's just see. So today we're wanting to work on the emotions panel, the prayer warrior, Reiki, and the pathogen panel. So let's, for example, let's see the girdle meridian. We know all that really affects our emotions. So let's just go in here. So we see what's happening here, all subtle, all etheric field. Triple heater. Again, a lot of that is, pardon?
How does a triple heater work?
You know, I'm no expert on that. I know that it ties into your Sanjal. And I know that we need that connection. We need that flow of energy. In QiGong, I'm told they put their tongue on the roof of their mouth to get that connection. Anybody else have any words on that?
We do that in chronic healing work as well.
Okay.
Yeah, the thing is, in Donna Eden, she explains it that it's kind of like the
Microcosmic orbit.
pretend. Yeah, or not pretend. The shield. It's what says this has been and it's always going to be. So if you try to do anything that is harmful or it thinks is harmful, it's going to kick in and take over everything. All the rest of the meridians. So it's kind of like our governing vessel.
We could go in here.
The heater.
If I may interject,
Here's fearful. We got a lot of energy related to that right now. Let's just see. We're in our right brain, which to me is not a bad thing. Our ego is shocked. That's interesting. And the resistance factor is chemical. And that reminds me of something. I had a couple of calls last night about high blood pressure. So I went into this. We've got other high blood pressure cocktails as well. But I went into this encyclopedia and made a scan on the high blood pressure and sent it to Joanna. It's in the BSA. So if you are interested in that, it's there. Let's just put chemical stress here. And what that reminds me for is one of the people experiencing the high blood pressure, it was related to chemical stress. So who knows where that came from.
Wow.
And since that is our focus here, we've got a couple of ways to go with this. Let's go into the chemical stress in the prayer warrior. Just 5 minutes. Let's see. Excessive, weak, and into the Reiki. Let's put in Girdle Meridian here. Now I'll do weak on another one. 10 hours there. A lot of fungal stress. That's probably the next thing we'll be addressing. It's coming up a lot, that and heavy metal.
Wow.
And then in the dispenser, even though not necessarily called for, remember, we're clearing stress related to the liver. Yesterday we did the superfoods cocktail. Since we're so focused on the emotions panel, how about we do a cocktail for the flower essences and see what we come up with. And we're only taking 7 repeats on this. We're not taking a lot of energy. So we're wanting to work with the third eye chakra, compassion. We're strengthening and motivating our willpower, protective shield, childhood issues. Go in here and okay. And see a little thyroid stress, a little marrow and lung. And that discusses weakness, self-expression, communication, speaking our truth, inspires positivity, courage, Here's a little lack of willpower. Let's see where that takes us. Oversensitivity to influences and ideas, unprotected from outside negativity. Let's just go back into the prayer warrior. Yeah.
Oh, was that going to run longer?
What's that?
When we were just in it, right?
Oh, yeah, you have different panels. You have your spiritual.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And we have quite a few cocktails in here, and I need to get in there and update that as far as so we all know what we've got. But let's just. How about just alignment with higher self?
Cathy, what was that on your screen that said inviting others?
I have no idea.
Okay, not something you did. Okay.
It didn't show up on mine.
Okay.
In the prayer warrior, that's one of the choices. There's 4.
Oh, it was in the prayer war. Oh, I thought you were asking. Okay. Yeah.
The choices. And the
Yeah.
last one is to invite others.
I thought you were looking at something different. Yeah, this is inviting others to pray.
They pray with you, yeah.
Yeah.
What was it? 60,000 or something like that?
It was a good sized number.
There's always a lot.
Yeah.
They're willing.
Yeah.
That's nice. Beautiful.
Yeah, usually on the other computer more so because I'm trying not to show everybody, other people's names. But I usually have at least 4 prayer warrior panels running, and you can work on situations. You can't manipulate others, but you can work on situations, etc., and do a lot with that work. So I've got it working. For example, for the energy group, I still scan the people to see if anybody is needing any extra energy that day, all subtle. And but that gives you an idea. So if we go in here, this fearful is interesting, considering it's our group, which you would think would be a little bit more attuned to going past that.
24 hours?
And we've got a real theme here, too, of child. You see that? Somebody said something. I missed it.
I said, it said 24 hours.
I usually do the 24 hours. You can automatically choose, or you can choose that one. So I usually go ahead and do the 24. I've got such a habit of forgetting to go back to this one. I'm working on that.
Oh, you just do 24 hours all the time?
I just automatically do that, yeah.
Oh. That's a good idea.
The Gong and the Shen are powerful. And you can work with that sometimes more powerful than the Pro Tools.
Wow. Really?
Mm-hmm. My opinion. And we're taking very little on this dispenser, so we emotions panel appears to be our focus today. Let's see where we are. 9 hours.
Yeah.
Just for the heck of it. If I don't know anything about portals, and I don't know that anybody in here has anything to add, but let's just put stress related to portals. opening. And, you know, it could be a good thing or a negative thing. Let's test each. Let's copy it first. Stress related to portals opening. Okay, well, if it's a good stress, we have that. Now let's look and see about a negative. Okay, so it's actually more good than bad. My belief, there is no real negative anyway, because we're in a school and we're learning. Sometimes it takes that to teach us. It's hard to put into perspective. But anyway, that gives us information for today. Let's go ahead and balance the nervous system today. That'll give us, again, a little hint.
Cathy, I can tell you a little bit about the portals.
Please.
Well, to be very brief and non-specific, there are many different grid patterns around the Earth. And when all of those grid systems line up, where they're, all in alignment, that's when a major portal will open.
Yes.
And it can open because of the alignment. There's nothing blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens with the portals?
You can travel through those portals to different time, places, dimensions, and such.
Wow.
Years ago, I read a story about a man who he was saying goodbye to his family to go to work, and they watched him walk down the sidewalk out into the field, and he just disappeared. He was gone. Now, could he have walked into a portal?
He could have, yes.
Wow. Maybe that's where all the UFOs are coming from too. I'm serious.
Yeah. It could be. Well, and also a portal could be simply a way of more information coming in.
Exactly.
Well, we are surrounded, and that's kind of what's interesting. It says that from what I'm reading, the primary way information comes in, the first way, is through images. So it gives you something to think about.
Yeah.
And then looking at the sun as a gateway as well as a portal gateway.
We just changed seasons from summer in the north and winter in the south, and the full moon's about to happen.
Wow, that's right.
Yeah. Is the full moon tonight? It was very full last night, but
Really?
Thursday.
Thursday? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize that either. That's all interesting. So, but you can see we're asking for 16 hours to balance the nervous system.
Wow.
So there's a little stress today, and but we're dealing with it. So is that it? Anything to add?
As we go towards
Love this group.
What's that?
I love this group. They're so far out.
Life is never dull when you're doing energy work.
I have a question about the Merkton. Can we add that to the options box?
And what would that be again?
The ivermectin.
Yes.
Oh, yes, it's in the sustenance balancer, and we sure can. And there's a code for it. If you go to healingnumbers.info, there are wonderful codes, which are said to be Grabavoy codes, and there's a code for ivermectin.
Thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure. And you can add that to any of these. And also, and I'm with the move, I'm looking for my wonderful book on water, which talks about the consciousness of water. And it looks to me like we can be putting some of these codes on our water containers as well.
That's a good idea.
Well, my
putting the
philosophy,
ivermectin.
Yeah, what can it hurt?
Yeah. I've been putting it in the sustenance balancer every morning too for everybody.
Yes, it's in there. We've got it in there. And of course I scanned to see if we want it or not. But absolutely, anything we can do like that is a positive. And I think these tools come along for these times, whether it be the SRC or this encyclopedia, which is so helpful, or even the I Ching, which is probably 4,000 or 5,000 years old. But the Western mind has never understood it like the Eastern, and maybe that's starting to change.
Mm-hmm.
And remembering that as we move towards the full moon, the energy rises and increases. There's also the book that Cathy introduces to called The Crystal Grid's Power. So we can elevate whatever we're trying to manifest higher as we get towards the full moon. And then remembering that on the new moon is where we set down our new goals. So that as we push forward to the full moon, it helps us enhance our goals from the new moon.
That's interesting.
I've never gotten involved with all the moon cycles, but I know many years ago when I sold real estate, so often if I had a wild and crazy day, I'd go out at night and look up and it would be a full moon.
Yeah.
So there was something to it, but that's, maybe an area we need to explore at some point.
On that note, if you place the stake for sale sign in the ground when the moon is in Sag, it's supposed to sell faster.
Really?
Okay, Cathy.
I'm telling you.
Funny.
Sounds like a plan.
I can tell you patients get really crazy around the full moon.
I'm sure.
We always knew without even looking, just because of the way they act.
And I got to thinking while y'all were talking regarding Cathy's house, with her permission and for her highest and best in a perfect correct way, if she wanted us to put her and her house in the SRC and hit the wonder click.
Oh, I'd never object to that.
All right.
You mean to sell it?
Yeah, trying to get it sold, yeah.
Yeah, right, sure.
Say that again.
Sell Cathy.
We're gonna be junior realtors for the day.
That's right. And Ron, a lot of people work also with their pendulums on selling houses.
Yeah.
I know you're big on the pendulum.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I wonder what the I Ching says about the house.
Yeah, some things I go for and others I don't. Mostly what I've been doing with the I Ching when I decided to pull it into this is just what you saw. So maybe I will go in today and talk to the I Ching about the house. But that hasn't been my motivation. What got me started was all this controversy over this vaccination. And I thought, well, we've got something. I've used the I Ching for many years, but I had for a while.
It doesn't sound very good either.
Well, I think the key is to realize the power of our own mind, and go forward. It's about what we're talking about here is sovereignty. We're not talking about you take it or you don't. We're talking about when do we realize we are not controlled by others. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what it's all about. And even the idea that you've taken it and now you've got this terrible situation, we don't want to be there. We may have to do some clearing. What has me most concerned is the spiked proteins. And I pulled up a book inscribed on prions, but it's 1,000 pages. So I
Did you say crying?
and pull up a few other little bits of information, but that probably out of everything we're looking at would be for me personally why I thought we needed to pull some information together. But the main thing is to realize that we are in control either way. That's a gift we've got, but we don't know it. We've forgotten. In fact, I pulled up, it's on the other computer, I'll share it tomorrow, an interesting code for something that apparently causes us to forget our power. I was listening to YouTube and they brought it up, and I thought, I wonder if there's a code for that, and there was, to clear it. we want to clear it. We don't want to enhance it. We want to clear it.
Exactly.
So it's very likely that the work we're doing, among other things, as it clears the stress in the field, it helps us remember some things that we need to remember.
Question.
Yeah.
Did you mention the name Cryon?
Cryons.
Cryon?
Prion.
Oh, okay.
Prion.
Wait a minute, did you spell that again?
Yeah, P as in Paul, R-I-O-N.
I thought,
Prion is a misshaped protein.
oh, I thought you had said cryon.
No,
Okay.
no,
I
no.
thought you said Cryon too.
Yeah,
No.
K-R-Y-O-N.
Yeah. Yeah, and if those of you who work with SKIO probably see that in there as well. But it's just something, I don't know that we need to be overly concerned. We need to be aware and go from there.
And remember, all this information is on the Energy Visionaries group and in the Virtual Spa Academy on Cathy's website.
Yeah, I think it would not hurt. We've got some saved sessions as well, on the different things we've talked about, and it doesn't take long every day. The saved sessions is just a click, and you can work on primarily yourself, but also anyone that gives permission or a situation. So we've got the tools here to do just that. So, okay, anything else?
Just remember how powerful you are. You're magical beings.
Take care, everybody.
Alrighty,
Thank
thank you.
you.
Thanks, Cathy. Cathy,
Bye.
thanks. Have a great day.
Thanks, you
You
too.
have a great day.
This concludes the SRC4u Zoom call for June 22nd, 2021. Thank you for being part of the group. We look forward to seeing you again. Till then, take care and be well.